Welcome back to Community Calendar. I'm Raina, filling in as host, and we have Becky Mitchell with us from the Becker Country Museum. Is that what you're calling it these days? I don't even know.
It is. It's, officially Becker County Historical Society, but as you know, we've expanded and have so many different areas of focus now that we do kind of tend to go to the Becker County Museum for referral now.
Sure. All right, so you have an exhibit at the museum that I was like, Davinci? Like Leonardo da Vinci? Like, tell us about this.
Leonardo da Vinci, yes. So, as you know, and many of you viewers know, the new facility was kind of a 20-year, 2-decade in the making sort of dream. And it went through lots of revisions and lots of finessing in that time. And gosh, about 9 years ago now, we called in the State Historical Society and went through a visioning process. And in the course of that process, we ended up adding that science component in. From a natural science perspective, it made sense for our facility. And from a lot of our industries and what have you, it made a lot of sense. And history and science are very intertwined. If you think railroad, agriculture, ice harvesting, there's a strong science component in all of those. And so, added that in, and as well as a children's focus. Flash forward a couple of years, we're looking at, when this new facility happens, not that we'll always have traveling exhibits, but looking at traveling exhibits, what sort of exhibits do we want to bring in? And so I kind of went out and looked at the Smithsonian exhibits and looked at the State Historical Society exhibits, looked at the Science Museum of Minnesota exhibits, and I stumbled across Da Vinci, and I kind of went, oh my gosh, this is it. Someday we need this exhibit in Detroit Lakes because it's history, it's art, and it's STEM, it's science. What many people don't know about Leonardo da Vinci is we know him for his art. We know him for Mona Lisa, The Last Supper. But what many don't know is he was very visionary, and he sketched drawing after drawing after drawing of different types of machines. Now remember, he lived in the late 1400s, early 1500s. Wow. So before electricity, before plastic kids, before all of those sort of modern day conveniences. And he was thinking of things like scuba diving equipment and hydraulics and pulleys and gears and flying machines and weapons of war, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. He didn't actually build any of those. He probably was deemed crazy for his day. He did a lot of questionable things. Even his artwork is done from a very mathematical approach. And so he was doing things like autopsies in that era, which was not accepted. And the machines were just kind of visions that he had. He did do a lot of work with pulleys and gears because how he made most of his income was in the theater and doing sets and props. And so he did work a little bit with that. So what this exhibit has done is taken 20 pieces of his artwork, and some that is controversial of whether it really was his artwork, reproduced it. We have and it's all to scale. So the Mona Lisa, I think, and at least I would think, is kind of big. We always think it's really big. It's not. It's about like 11 by, it's pretty small. But the Last Supper is 15 feet tall by 30 feet wide to scale. So that's very...
And you have that at the Becker County Museum.
We do. Along with an explanation of every piece of art, all of the history behind the art. But then they've taken 65 of these drawings of machines and built the machines, essentially. Oh, wow. And so it's incredible to see how some of those machines, you can see bits and pieces of them reminiscent today and things that we use today. And we hear over and over and over, what didn't he think of? What didn't he do? And, he was kind of the original STEM, guy. And so it's really, really, it fits within our mission. It fits, the art focus fits, of course, with our neighbors at the Historic Homes Theater. And it's just a fantastic exhibit. I say it over and over and over, but this exhibit is incredible that we got in this region. It is a high-end exhibit. It is usually in places like Chicago or St. Louis or Pittsburgh. Much larger communities. And so I cannot stress enough. This is.
Did they think we were Detroit, Michigan?
I don't know. Maybe they did. you hear, I know Amy Stearns in the past has talked about how getting shows in at the homes, sometimes it takes 3, 4 years, 5 years or more of kind of working those relationships, waiting for the right time, working the angle, and that's exactly what happened with Davinci. I stumbled across that before we had even broken ground. So that was a hurdle. And then COVID was a hurdle. And then on and on and on and on. And, flash forward to earlier this year when we were getting ready to move into that facility, I reached out to all of the exhibition companies that I had talked to about various exhibits to get updated pricing. And this particular exhibit was, quite honestly, I kind of hung up the phone like it's never going to happen. It was so much money post-COVID and post all those challenges. I just didn't think it would ever happen for Detroit Lakes. And about 2 months later, she called me and said, "Are you still interested?" And I said, "Maybe." Tell me
playing
more.
Playing the game.
And so they had a cancellation. So what happens with when that happens in exhibit world is they call it kind of a fire sale. They have to find a spot, because how most exhibits work is you pay for incoming shipping. So we pay to get it from this point to us. The next location pays to get it from us to them. So from a company standpoint, they're looking at transporting it and then paying to store it. And so they try to find a spot for it so they don't have to do all that. And it was out in Bozeman, so it was relatively close. And we were able to kind of talk down to that pre-COVID price, which was still very lofty, but a little bit more palatable. And I started calling some of our good friends and amazing sponsors in this region, which there's a whole slew of them. I think we have about 10 sponsors that helped get this exhibit here. And that covered about half the cost, and the rest is being made up, of course, by admission fees. So it truly is, everybody that comes walks away going, "This is incredible that we have this in Detroit Lakes." And we have people flying in over the holidays, like change their holiday plans to come visit family in Detroit Lakes to see this exhibit.
So then it's here from now through, is it January 1st?
January 7th is the last day. And then it'll be about a week of teardown, and then we'll start working on getting our regular, normal history exhibits back up on our local history.
Okay, and then what is the cost to come and see this exhibit?
Yeah, so if you're a member of the museum, it's $20, and if you're a non-member, it's $25 for adults, and for students, it's $10, $5 if you're a member, $10 if you're a non-member, and that does include the Science Center. So if you're not a member of the museum, you have family coming in, know that you can also take those kiddos up to the Science Center, and those prices are your admission's good for all day. So we've already experienced, this is a pretty large exhibit. We've already experienced several people being like, "Oh, I need to go have lunch and come back," because it's a lot to digest. And so you can make a day of it. Come in the morning and have a little bit of the exhibit, maybe take the kids up to the Science Center, go have lunch, come back in the afternoon, and who knows, maybe in the evening taking a show at the homes or go next door and play in the backyard. Yes. So,
well, very cool. That I love hearing that story behind that. That's always fun to lots of things I don't know about that world. So, well, make sure that's the Becker County Museum or Becker County Historical Society, connected to the Detroit Lakes Community Center. It's a beautiful building, and so that's going on now through the 7th of January. What are your hours that you're open?
Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5, and then we have opened on Sundays from noon to 4 for this exhibit.
Okay. Super. Well, thank you, Becky, and keep us updated on other things that you have going on at the museum. The history is wonderful. I love history, and we have a lot of great local history here too.
Absolutely.
Yes. So thanks for watching Community Calendar. We'll be back right after this.